Hello YouTube, how the hell you doing? This is your boy IconicBelow bringing you a brand new episode of the Call of Duty Black Ops RTC. And today, this is episode 3, and we will be talking about my Call of Duty idea. A brand new Call of Duty game that I would love the community to hear and get a little bit of feedback and stuff on, and give your opinions. But first, today we are playing Safeguard. We are level 6, about a KD around 1. And hopefully this Safeguard game brings up our KD a little bit. Depends on how bad my team is and stuff like that. But we will be playing with the HVK, which is probably my second or third favorite AR. Definitely my favorite fast-paced AR. Holy shit, that dude rushed up with the COD. I just didn't want to play with the COD again, and this map was completely bad for no evil. So I will be playing with the HVK. Shit. Okay, dude's in between tin and bricks. So yes, I would like to go over my idea about a brand new Call of Duty game. Hear your guys' opinion on what my thoughts are and stuff like that. So I think this game should be called something similar to Call of Duty Generations, Generational Warfare, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Something similar to that, showing that you're going through different ages and stuff like that. We've had numerous people come out saying they want a game from World at War or World War I, or you want the Vietnam War or Korea, stuff like that. And I think this game could fit everything. Obviously, it's going to be a longer game, obviously. I don't really know how you would do something in either multiplayer or the campaign mode. I'm not really sure exactly how you would make it work, but this is the idea I want in a Call of Duty game. Many people love the idea of multi-COD in the sniping community. Many people like going back, playing the old Call of Duties and stuff like that, and I think this would kind of fit that kind of need like we have in COD Online and stuff like that. Obviously, you could have gun packs and stuff like that, and that would work really, really well, especially for Activision, which, obviously, if you give them an idea that will work for them, they're gonna love it. So, let's start breaking down the story before I start getting shit for saying that we can do something for Activision. So, I think if you started out the game and you could even go back as far as like the Civil War with like a trolley gun, like a musket or something like that, or even a musket pistol. Not saying that's where the entire game should be played, but if you started out with that, and multiplayer was a simulation where there was a whole bunch of people, like 1 or 2 people from like the Civil War. If it was based around like a couple families, which sounds weird, but 1 or 2 families as the main characters. One's a genuinely good character, and one's a genuinely evil character. And that is where the storyline and multiplayer start. You start beginning to understand these families, and they have their generations, obviously, i.e. where the name comes from. If they want to have specialists, each character is going to run the same specialist. I guess you couldn't call them specialists because they're not going to be like cybernetic or something like that. But they could do something similar. Say the Civil War character has something similar to high caliber that will do more damage in each of their shots. Not saying they have to run a ball and cap pistol and rifle, but it would be a cool idea for them to have more powerful guns. Well, more damage from their guns. We are 17-9 right now. We are shitting on these kids. They are just camping in this building. But if we did that, that'd be kind of a cool idea. Say, Call of Duty Generations. But say the Civil War people have more damage, and they're the base of the families. Their great-great-grandfather or whatever. You have those people interacted by people like Morgan Freeman and I believe the white guy. I can't remember his name to save my life, but him. Those two people are voice acted by those two characters. Give them the go-ahead. Do whatever you feel like these people would talk like nowadays. Would they call people whippersnappers? Would they call people motherfuckers? Whatever the hell you feel like those people thrown into society nowadays would say or would happen. And then you would go into something like World War I. These people would have something similar to crack feet from Modern Warfare 2. A lot of them ran around between trenches and stuff like that. You gotta move fast to do that shit. So we're gonna come up with a cool idea. Something similar to crack feet from Modern Warfare 2. Definitely would be a cool thing to see back in Call of Duty. And these people would be, obviously, they would all look like World War II characters. So they would, one would be a German, one would probably end up being an American. And this is where you could bring in things like a sniper rifle, maybe the trench gun, and stuff like that. Obviously, there wouldn't be SMGs and ARs from this era, but obviously you can throw in some guns. And that would be kind of a cool idea to throw in there. Obviously, you would have those two specific types that there's going to be a lot of different kind of guns in this era. You could throw in guns from the other countries as well, but you kind of want to ideologize the two specific kind of factions in each era. And then you move on to World War II, where you would obviously have the Germans, or the Axis, and the Allies. I don't know why the hell they called themselves the Allies, even though the Axis were allies as well. It's kind of retarded. But that's beside the point. Obviously, if you did that, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. Just based on, we've already seen World at War and stuff like that. Many people already want World at War, and there's quite a few guns you could use. Now, obviously, I'll tell you how I would implement all these guns anyway, but I really do think that a generational game in something like bringing characters from modern times back with the guns that we're using nowadays into, say, Gallipoli, which was a battle in Turkey, where the Americans and Australians were going up against the Turkish during World War I. It'd be kind of cool. Have trench warfare be in and around a city as well, and have the trenches around the outside. It would be kind of a cool idea to see how the hell that would work, especially in a competitive, fast-moving game like Call of Duty. So if we moved around in the generations and moved around with guns and stuff like that, I think it would be more entertaining and definitely be a longer-lasting Call of Duty. Now, many people would ask, how would you be able to make a game work that spans that long of time? You have games coming all the way from the 1800s, guns coming all the way from the 1800s, and moving all the way up through, obviously, recent times. You won't want to go into space warfare with this, just because it wouldn't really make sense. But, awesome, this game will go into one full record, which is fucking amazing. But, it's still 27 and 16. So, if we did that, this is how I feel it would work. Now, I'm sure many of you guys are either around in between the ages of 13, probably about 25. Some of you guys have used guns, looked at guns, bought guns, stuff like that. And I think that would be a very, very nice way for this to work, is the way people buy and sell guns. We bring the COD points back. Not the COD points that we're seeing in Black Ops 3, but the COD points that we saw in Black Ops 1, and make it similar to the black market. Now, I'm not saying we should go crazy and make everything DLC, but you make it so that way you can earn COD points 110% of the time. 100% of the time you're playing the game, you earn COD points. Now, when you're on menus and shit like that, but you play through the campaign, you can earn guns. You play through zombies, you can earn guns. You play through multiplayer, you can earn guns. Whether or not you want them to be different or different prices, depending on how you're playing, or different earn rates, whatever the hell needs to be balanced there. But wherever you're playing in the game, you can earn stuff for multiplayer, and all of the unlocks overlap. And that's one of the big things that I think Call of Duty is missing out on, is the overlap between all of the game modes. Because you have fans of each individual game mode, and that's the hardest part to deal with. So, as I was saying, this is how you would buy the guns. It would be the black market. You could keep it with that name, or you could go with the name the Gunsmith. I mean, not the Gunsmith, the gun shop, where you walk into the store, all the guns are up on a wall. You start out at the Civil War, you can move all the way around. And each individual gun, there's probably like 2 or 3 from the Civil War. Obviously, there wasn't going to be many different ones from that age. You could probably have a ball and cap sniper rifle, which would be similar to the Moors from Advanced Warfare. And then you would move up to a ball and cap pistol, which is going to be similar to the Marshall 16s as we're seeing in Black Ops 3. And then you move into something similar to the fuck, I can't think. And then you move in something similar to a blunderbuss or a scattergun, where you're just picking up dirt or nails or shit off the ground or out of your pack, pushing it into your shotgun and shooting it. Okay, guys, I will meet you right back as soon as we find another game. I'm going to find a free-for-all so that way this video isn't... Actually, no, I'll just find another safeguard. I just don't want to break the download, so give me 1 second. Okay, so, as I was saying, the way I think that this should work is then there's a shotgun, which is similar to a scattergun, as they used to call them, where you throw glass, nails, pennies, whatever the hell you decided to throw into your gun, and you would be able to shoot that. It worked very well because of the way the guns were made back then. And then you move into World War I, where you have guns similar to the M1 Garand and bolt-action sniper rifles and stuff like that. You could even make this a game in modern times based on how Germany and Korea, or Germany and Vietnam, I think Korea is definitely more likely, but how those countries want to invade the United States. That makes it so that way the gun shop is understandable, where you could go into a gun store and buy guns to defend yourself. And that's ideology-wise, that makes sense. Buying guns to defend yourself in a defend your home kind of game really does make sense, especially if you think about it. Holy shit, that dude's standing behind a plant. So, obviously, then you would go into World War I. You definitely want the Springfield and stuff like that. I think that was used in Modern Warfare. I mean, World War I. And then you definitely want things like the trench gun and stuff like that. The things that the major people used in that specific war. You definitely want those things so that way it's recognizable. Just that way it's the easiest way to do it, is make it as recognizable as possible. And then that's where you start. That's where you start breaking everything down. You want the trench gun. You could throw in a kill streak from World War I using the gases and stuff like that, just because it's very, very stereotypical from the Germans and stuff like that. Well, it's a gas attack. You gas the entire map, it goes away in like 2 or 3 seconds. It kills the entire team like once or so. Or you could even do like a strip or a half of the map or whatever the hell you feel like doing. It'd be kind of a cool idea. Obviously, you would have to figure out a way to do kill streaks if you want them bought, or you would have to buy them in-game, however the hell you want to use them. But at that point, you would figure it out. So, next thing you would do would be World War II. And that's a pretty easy one. Obviously, you want the basic guns, MP40. You want things like the Thompson or the Tommy gun. You want things like, you could even go as crazy as Springfield sniper rifles from that era, stuff like that. More bolt action guns, just so that way you have more variety of guns. Obviously, it's going to be very, very hard to balance all of these guns, and I understand that. Especially all of the bolt action guns, all of the single action guns and stuff like that. It's going to be very, very hard. And that's the hardest thing why I think they haven't done this game. It's just figuring out where the guns need to be balanced. And giving guns their little individual quirkiness. And that's the thing where they're missing out quite a bit in Black Ops 3, is having those fun, quirky guns. Like, why the fuck don't we have ballistic knives? Obviously, people want to run around a knife. Just fucking make them, you know what I'm saying? We have bats and crossbows and shit like that. Oh, nope, he didn't get a collat. I was going to say, that dude just got a fucking collat as the last camera, which is great. But we have all those. Why the fuck can't we have something like a ballistic knife or something like that? It'd be kind of nice. But then you move on to the next generation, which would be Korea and Vietnam. You have things like the M16, the MP5, and probably you could throw in the P90 in that age and stuff like that. All of the pre-Afghanistan war. And I'm not saying the old Afghanistan war. I think you want to go to the newest Afghanistan war